Hey, good Tuesday morning, everyone. This is Kim Quady with Kim Plays with Paper, a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Mesa, Arizona. Thanks for joining me today, and if you can't join me live, be sure to watch the replay on my Facebook page, and I will also convert it to a YouTube video later where all of the information about the card or the links will be on there. So today I am creating with a couple of Stampin' Up! Specialty Designer Series paper. I know that I am probably in good company that I absolutely love designer series paper and specialty designer series paper. I just have stacks of it, and I have this tendency to buy it and then not use it. That's crazy. So I've used a couple of them today, and I want to share that with you. So I've used the Balmy Blue Glimmer Paper and the Poinsettia Specialty Designer Series paper. And let me just quick show you the card that I am going to make with that, and it has a few moving parts, but I will share how I created that with you. Thank you, Veronica, and thank you, Linda, for joining me today. I hope that wherever you are, you're having an awesome day. Good morning, Sue. Thanks for joining me. I am going to flip the camera around so you can see my workspace and the card and the ceiling and all of that while we get started. All right. Hi, Deb. How are you? So like I said, I'm going to be using the Plush Poinsettia Specialty Paper from page 15 of the mini catalog. This stuff is absolutely gorgeous. There are 3 different designs, and I just absolutely love it and have been trying to figure out a way to use it best. And then also I'm going to be using the Balmy Blue Glimmer Paper that's on page 37 of the mini catalog, as well as the Winter Snow embossing folder on that page. So let's get started with that. This is the card that I created. It also uses a few other products. It uses this little snow piece. Hi, Lori. Thanks for joining me. This little snow piece from the In the Woods framelits. But if you didn't have that, you could also just trim that with your scissor. I'm using 3 of the triangles from the Stampin' Up's Stitched Triangles dies. Lots of little pieces. I'm using the sentiment from All of Us from the Triangle stamp set. And like I mentioned, the embossing folder. And for the sentiment, that little die cut comes from the Tasteful Label dies. But there are a lot of different options that you could also use if you don't happen to have that, like the Classic Label Punch would be a good option for that. Hi, Monica. Thanks for popping in today. Let me know if you have any questions. Alrighty. So I've started. This card uses the Stampin' Up's thick, very vanilla card base. So just because I didn't know which one I liked, I am going to try the base as Night of Navy so you can tell me which one you like better. Then I've embossed a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of Balmy Blue cardstock with that embossing folder. I have 3 trees that I have cut with the stitched triangles out of that Balmy Blue. Just love that. And then I added 2 of the trees popped out with the stitched triangles out of the Poinsettia Specialty Paper. Man, I just love that stuff. The texture to this card is just something else. And then I have this small piece of snow for the bottom. just a tip about that, if you are going to use that little piece from the In the Woods dies, cut your Whisper White paper first, run that through the Big Shot first, and then run that piece through the embossing folder. Otherwise, I did do it the other way around, and when I did it that way, it squished all of the embossing out and took away all of the awesome detail. You can just see the detail in that embossing folder. It's absolutely beautiful. All right. The other thing I did do is, you'll see the matching ribbon. I used Stampin' Up's white crinkled seam binding and used a Stampin' Blend, the dark Balmy Blue Stampin' Blend, and colored my ribbon so that I could have matching ribbon. I just love that about the Stampin' Up products, how all the colors coordinate so it all goes together. It matches. It makes you successful in card making, especially me. Sometimes I don't always get the right color combo, but with Stampin' Up, you sure do. Yes, Deb, thank you. This card has certainly a lot of texture. So I'll just slowly go put it together for you step by step. I did use kind of a combo of glue dots and other. So here's my Balmy Blue base already run through the embossing folder. I'm gonna just set my trees down. See if we can see but it doesn't have to be exact, because no one knows what it was supposed to look like or what I had in mind. But I kind of arranged my trees. I don't want it to go off the edge. And then I stick the textured ones right behind it. With the specialty. I just think that adds so much to it. All right, and I took the glue dots and I am going to just put a few on here to get it stuck down to the Hi Nancy, thanks for joining me this morning. And I'm gonna pop that in right here. I could use my snow to make sure that I will have that all in the right spot. So then I'll tuck my poinsettia in. I use a lot of glue dots on this one. And you'd be surprised, you can't really see the glue dots through this designer series paper, but I'm not gonna go crazy. So I put one at the tippy top, and I left a little spot right in here. I tuck that in, move it down so it's under the trees. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate your comment on the card. I usually am a very clean and simple stamper, but today I just had to figure out how I was going to use all this gorgeous paper that I purchased. So this card, very little stamping, just a lot of die cutting and a lot of using our adhesive to get it put together. I'll tuck that in here. And this guy can go in here. And just wherever they fit is where I was going to be putting the trees. Lots of glue dots, so thanks for your patience as you watch me manipulate all those glue dots. I might move that down just a little bit for some, and then we'll stick this next guy on. But I also early on purchased a bunch of the red and green foil paper, and I've used most of that. I loved that too. So I'm going to continue and just add my glue dots to my snow that I've already cut out with the reminder with that piece from the In the Woods framelits as a reminder to cut that die cut with the paper first before running that through the embossing machine with that snowflake embossing folder. Yes, and sometimes I know I use a little too much adhesive, but my motto, I would hate for the card to get to somebody's house and have it fall apart before, as they open it up. So then before I put this card on the base, I am going to add my ribbon. I just love this. This white organza is really a good ribbon for that. Though I'm sorry, it's crinkled seam binding. So here's my, good morning, Sandy. Oh yes, Tammy, which you have to buy those stitch triangle dies. I tell you, I have used them so much since I bought them. I just found, here's another card that's laying on the table. So that's another card I made with those stitch triangles. At first I too was like, man, I don't need those, but yeah, I do need those. So this is taking my Stampin' Blend and just coloring that ribbon. And it's an alcohol marker, so it dries. Just dries quickly. That should give me plenty to work with because I'm just going to, I'll wow you with my faux bow. For a while, for the longest time, I was terrible at bows. I still need a little practice, but I'll share my faux bow. So I put just a little glue dot on in each end of my ribbon and pull it off. And just going to wrap it around the back of the card and hook that ribbon onto the back of the card. And I've got that glue dot stuck down there. All right, so this is where we're gonna go a little bit different and you'll have to tell me what you think. I am going to affix that to the front of a Night of Navy piece. So when we're all done, we'll see which one you like better. I will use our Seal Plus for that. I'm gonna do that gently because sometimes when we have our embossing folder, it will kind of take up some of the pieces, but I will be gentle. So I will put some on the back of that and put it on the front of the, hey Adrian, thanks for joining me from Indiana and thanks for sharing the video today. There we go. So I'm just gonna make sure that my little tree's crooked, but that's how a forest is, so I don't have to be too perfect about that. When I first saw Stampin' Up! Products years ago in northern Minnesota, I was never really good with glue. I was never good with crafts. But when the demonstrator showed us all this stuff, it just looked like so much fun. And I said to her, I don't know, I don't think I'd be very good with this. I'm not. And we've all heard this, just not very good at it. And she said, it's handmade. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I was sold. So after that, I just try to have a lot of fun with it and not worry about perfection, but that's just my personality. So I have the sentiment from the Triangle stamp set, and I'm just inking it up in Balmy Blue. I've already cut out the sentiment sheet. Normally I would stamp first and then cut, but I figured this is a small one. The chances of me getting it on straight are pretty good, but again, that's only paper, so I'm going to try one more time and then we'll go from there. Do you like the navy, Deb? That's yeah, I wasn't sure. I just wasn't sure if the contrast, but thank you. You know, we could always do that with a tone on tone with the Balmy Blue. So there are lots and lots of choices with the card base. So voila, got that. So now I'm going to use, I was calling these earlier our baby dimensionals, but there are Stampin' Up's mini dimensionals. I'm just going to put a few on the back. A few, so I don't really want, I'm going to put it on top of the ribbon and I don't want it to wiggle wiggle too much. So I usually try to straddle it, but straddle the ribbon, but the sentiment's almost the same size. So come on, you know, when these things don't come off when you really want them to, it can be a struggle sometimes. But what's your guys' favorite DSP in the catalog? Oh yeah, gray granite or basic gray, that's a good option to try too. There's a designer series paper sale coming up October 1st, so check back next week and I will try to make a card using some of the papers that are on sale. So I'm just gonna snip a piece of the ribbon that I've already colored off. And this is where the magic of my faux bow, maybe you guys are fans of the faux bow too, but I just tuck that ribbon, that piece under the one I have tacked down, and I tie a single knot and pull it tight, and there is my ribbon. And then I'm going to trim it off. Oh, the peony, yes, that is beautiful. Now, don't do what I was making a card this morning, and sometimes you just think, oh, for heaven's sakes. So I was trimming and trimming, and then I cut the wrong ribbon, so I had to take the whole card apart and trim it all over again. So there we are. That is the finished card using all of those pieces that I showed you. Yes, thanks, Teresa. You like the navy, and there's the white. So, and I will go ahead and put a piece of Whisper White cardstock on the inside, so I'll be able to write a message. I did want to show one other card with my my glimmer paper that I made, and again, just trying to use the different elements. I used the stitched stars and that fun little ribbon. But there's another one using that Balmy Blue Glitter Paper. Just love all that. So I thank you for joining me today, and for those of you who shared and commented. And I will be on next Tuesday morning, trying to use some of the designer series paper that will be on the sale. Oh yes, Deb, so many papers, and that's my weakness too. Each time I say I'm just going to use one package all up before I buy the other, that never happens, because you open it up and it's just like, oh man, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So again, thanks for joining me. Enjoy your Tuesday and happy stamping. We'll see you next week. Thanks for popping in. Bye-bye.